I'm the co-author of a book called Building Resilience in Students Impacted by Adverse Childhood Experiences, a whole staff approach, along with Victoria Romero and Amber Warner. And we came together as co-authors at a time when we were seeing a need to address the prevalence and impact of trauma in our schools, but we weren't seeing as many resources that were really looking at a systemic approach. So how do we do this school-wide? How do we do this district-wide? How do we provide multi-tiered social, emotional, and behavioral supports? And we weren't at that time, because obviously things have changed. There's been a lot more resources in the past few years, but we also weren't seeing a lot that really looked at the fact that you can't call yourself trauma informed, again, unless you're doing work to be racially and socially just. So we also wanted to approach this work through an equity lens, and that was very important to us as a team for a variety of personal and professional reasons. Victoria and Amber are both Black women, and Victoria is an educator who's a retired principal, and prior to that was a classroom teacher for 35 years and helped to turn around 2 schools as an administrator in the Seattle area. And Amber is a licensed clinical social worker who works with children and families impacted by trauma in schools, hospitals, and private practice. And my own identity as a white queer person, and also as someone who has my own history of ACEs and trauma. And my background as an educator and then as a district, behavior intervention specialist, and think about how to bring together kind of our experiences as an administrator, educator, behavior intervention specialist, therapist, to create an approach that would help schools to build on what they had. So not get rid of things, but really look at, where's your school at? What is it doing? What is it doing well? Where are there some gaps and some spaces to grow? Also, what's not working that we might need to change or even get rid of in terms of some of our practices? And so we were really looking to create a trauma-informed model that was multi-tiered, had an equity lens, allowed an entry point for every school and district, regardless of where they are in their journey. So in other words, if they have a ton of comprehensive supports or if they have little to nothing in place, they can still engage in the work. And we had the good fortune also of having a beautiful collaboration with Dr. Nadine Burke Harris, who was the California Surgeon General. And the model of that book was included in the California's Roadmap for Resilience, which was a pretty groundbreaking policy document, not just in California, but I think will inform policy in the nation, which was to really begin to address childhood trauma as a public health crisis. And the model my co-authors and I presented in our book ended up being included in that Roadmap for Resilience as an example of best practices for public schools to engage in trauma-informed care. And it's a workbook, so it's something that folks can pick up. They don't have to read cover to cover. They go to a chapter, they read about, they get some information, and then there's different activities, strategies, and ways to kind of read and write and reflect.
For more information about social and emotional learning, please visit adlit.org. This project was made possible by a partnership between the National Education Association and WETA.